Hey everybody, it's Mama T here. I thought I would give this Facebook Live thing a try at the urging of my friend Mrs. Thornton. Last night, her and I were having some very deep conversation over some wine and maybe some potato chips. And the reason she was even here last night is because I have seriously been struggling with my hip surgery recovery. The biggest challenge for me, at least as an athlete, and I'm sure that a lot of you can relate to this, is that my release, my outlet for stress, or just life in general, is my training. It is literally my drug of choice, which really is the thing that I want to share with people. If I do this as a blog, I've kind of already decided that the title of this thing would be like an athlete's addiction, because I want to share with you guys not just my struggle with my recovery, but my struggle with addiction, and maybe not in the sense that you would think of an addiction, but being an addict nonetheless, with my drug of choice being the chemical endorphins, things like that, the adrenaline rush of being able to train. So Heather and I were talking last night, and, I was shedding some tears, and that's not the first time that I've done so over the last couple of weeks while I'm trying to recover from this injury, the surgery, that, I always like to put myself out there, and I like to share with people, the realness of who I am, because I think a lot of people struggle in silence. And I want to be able to help those people if I can in some way. Maybe more so than, clearly I can't post my inspirational training videos for you guys. It's going to be a long time before I can do that. But I need my own therapy right now. And because I can't train, I need to be able to have an outlet. So I'm going to give this a try. I don't know if I'm going to stick to Facebook Live, or if I'll do YouTube videos, or maybe I'll type it up in a blog and share it around on social media. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both. And the strange thing for me is, while I love public speaking and I can put myself out there in groups of people with no problems, sitting here staring at myself on Facebook Live feels weird. But anyway, just real quick, I'll keep this one short and sweet, and then I will certainly share some more later. But, I struggle with depression. Many people know that I have struggled with depression before. There's a lot of depression and other types of mental illness in my family. There's a lot of addiction in my family too. So I struggle with addiction, or having at least an addictive personality. Like I said, my drug of choice right now is training. And when I can't train, my drug is gone. And so, like any addict, I'm going through withdrawal. And it's devastating to me anyway. I think a lot of people look at maybe the sport that I do as a little... I don't know, people see it as a vain thing, to want to have your body look a certain way or what have you. But the reality is, at least at this point in my life, it is truly the thing that keeps me from being curled up in a ball in a big old depressed mess. So, just a quick history, 2007, was 2 years after I had started competing, and I had two injuries that I had to have surgically repaired. I had a slap tear in my shoulder and I tore my bicep at the elbow. And I had to have both of those surgeries back to back. Back then, I was so heavily involved in competing myself. I wasn't coaching yet, but I fully identified myself as a bodybuilder. And that became my life. And so not being able to train back then, I was so all or nothing that if I couldn't lift heavy and do the things that I wanted to, I didn't do anything at all. And every time I went to physical therapy, I was angry because I hated the light dumbbells. I hated not being able to do the things that I wanted to do. And I was going through a pretty rough patch at work at the same time. So I ended up going through a pretty significant depression. I gained, I don't even know, 20, 30 pounds over the course of the year. And really, I felt like I lost myself. And through that, or at least having gotten through that, the following year, I sort of, as I like to say, finally was somehow able to think through it all and give myself what I call my inner bitch slap. Basically, Tina, get up off your fucking ass and do something because, if you do that, you're going to feel better. And it was really hard and I was embarrassed to go to the gym, so I didn't. So I worked out at home until I got myself to a point where I felt like I could go back to the gym. But it was hard for me because I went from being a big fish in a little pond at my gym to not being the person that I wanted to be and be able to lift what I wanted to and the way I wanted to, because I now had to work around my repaired injuries. But anyway, eventually I got myself back on track, changed my job situation, was able to pull my head out of my ass and my depression and get on stage again in 2009, and then I continued to compete until I retired in 2012. The lesson that I learned through all of that is that I need the movement in my life. I need training in my life because, like I said, it is my addiction. It's my drug. So last December when I had surgery, I had surgery again on my shoulder. They had to reattach my bicep at the shoulder. And I decided that whatever I could do to get movement, I would. And so, within days after surgery, I was walking on the treadmill, working up a sweat, or one-handed on my spin bike, or doing kettlebell squats with one hand. I don't know. It was all kinds of foolishness, and maybe I shouldn't have done it, but it was the thing that kept me sane. So fast forward to my surgery on my hip 2 weeks ago, and going into this, having the self-awareness now that I have this issue with depression. I knew this recovery was going to be really hard because I knew I wasn't going to be able to have that movement in my life. So I knew I was going to be on crutches for 3 weeks. I knew it was going to be at least 12 weeks before I could get back to sort of normal activity. But I think for some reason I had it in my brain that, all the precautions they put out there were for normal people and not superhumans like me. So while I had begged and pleaded my physical therapist and my doctor and said, hey, how about we get off these crutches sooner than 3 weeks? Or, I'm sure that's for normal people and not for athletes. And clearly nobody else believes in my superhuman abilities to heal faster than everybody else besides myself. So nobody was having it. So I'm stuck for 3 weeks on these crutches, 10 more days, but who's counting? So anyway, I am not able to get my heart rate up. I am not able to get that endorphin rush. So right now I'm not able to get my drugs, and the withdrawal has been difficult. I've cried a lot. It's not that I'm in pain physically, but I would say mentally, this may be the most difficult struggle, I've gone through. As an athlete, this is my 12th surgery. So this is the 12th time I have been out of circuit, you know, but seemingly the hardest for me. Being on the crutches, I think being the most difficult thing because I can't do any of my normal daily activities. My poor husband, who, God bless him, is a saint, has to do everything. And that's just not me. I want to be able to fend for myself. I don't want to have to ask a client to carry my water bottle up the stairs when I try to meet with them in the studio. And anyway, the whole thing's just a big pain in the butt. And so, yeah, I might do a lot of wah and boo-hoo, and that's not me. That's not the kind of person that I want to be. But the reality is I am going through withdrawal. I am grieving. I'm really struggling. And struggling to even not cry now. So I'm probably going to keep this short, but I want to let people know that, you know, we all have to, you know, as athletes or even as regular people, right? You have to be able to find some outlet, right? And so I'm gonna work on sharing my process with you guys, and sharing a little bit more about some of the other sort of addiction and things that I think a lot of people struggle with. You know, maybe give some people hope that, you know, there is a way to work through all of this. And I'm finding my way. And I know that there's a reason why I'm going through this. And I know that my purpose is to be able to share this journey with somebody else, so that I might be able to help them. Whether you're an athlete or just somebody who struggles with mental illness and depression, or somebody who just struggles in general, I think this is something that hopefully me bearing my soul will help somebody else, and it will make my struggle worthwhile if I'm able to help somebody else with theirs. Then I'll know that this is the purpose for me going through this. You know, I've learned to take on every challenge that's sent my way. That every time I have something to overcome, that means that I'm going to get to come out stronger on the other side. So I say that there's a lesson for me to learn in all of this. Something that will help me be a better coach, be a better mom, be a better wife, I hope. I don't think I've been a great wife lately, my poor husband, because I've been a wreck. God bless him. But anyway, I'm going to share some more with you guys a little bit later, maybe tomorrow sometime. I'll share a little bit more details, you know, about the, you know, sort of struggles with the depression and addiction, and kind of give you some thoughts there. And so anyway, hopefully you guys will stick with me. I might put some of this in text, and so, you know, for those of you who prefer it in sort of a text format, if you like the Facebook Live, let me know. You can blame Heather if you don't, because she's the one that told me I should do it. But anyway, I thank you guys for, you know, sharing my journey with me. You know, many of you inspire me daily. Me being able to put myself out there, and knowing that I affect others, helps to keep me going every day. So I appreciate all of that from you guys. And anyway, so I'm going to cut it short now, and I hopefully will be back in touch with you tomorrow sometime and fill you in on a little bit more about my journey. Have a great Saturday, guys. Thank you so much.